Okay, so the all-new Google Pixel 6a. Now, guys, we need to talk about all of the issues surrounding this new phone here. The real ones and also the not so real ones. Let's go ahead and jump in. Now, based off of comments in the comment section of the video that I made about this phone here, along with comments made on other videos from other tech YouTubers about this phone here, the overwhelming majority of people seem to be able to tell, which issues are actually real issues and which ones are not. But there's still a small segment or a very tiny amount of people who seem to want to continue the work that, some of these mega YouTubers started, like specifically NKBHD, about what they call issues or what they call issues. And this truly needs to stop, right? Because if you think about it, this is kind of the type of thing that would happen and then cause for all of us to lose, in an innovative manufacturer like LG, for example, right? They did so much in the tech industry, in the mobile tech world. But the problem is they used to get bashed over and over and over again, unfairly, so much so that at one point they just decided to just stop making phones. So we have to be careful in the way we approach criticism when it comes down to, these devices, right? We really truly need to just highlight actual legit criticism, not things like, it's 60 hertz. It works very, very, very well. There's no problem with it. Or things like the price. Some people are complaining that it's too expensive at $449, or wireless charge, or even the fingerprint sensor, which I've shown you a million times works without any issues. Now, that being said, there is a legit concern about overheating. Right? I mean, we've gone through kind of a heat wave, at least here in the Northeast. So that alone highlighted an underlying issue that we are now, finding out. And before we even talk about the overheating issues, why don't we go ahead and debunk many of these myths about this phone, starting off with the fingerprint sensor. I personally have not experienced any issues, unlocking this phone, with a fingerprint sensor. I can show you right there. Tap to wake up the phone. It works. I'm talking, not one time did it fail. And there was also another issue about the fact that some people would be able to unlock your phone. Now, I've had my wife try and she wasn't able to unlock it, without registering her fingerprints, and she was not able to unlock the phone. So I'm not sure. I don't even know where that one came from. It's not something you should be concerned about, because the overwhelming majority of people who have this phone have not experienced any glitch like that where, people with unregistered fingerprints are able to unlock the phone. Now, I wouldn't mind if Google went ahead and took another look at it just to make sure that it's good, right? Now, in terms of, connectivity, I haven't had any issues with this, and I am using actually Mint Mobile and it works perfectly and fine. I'm getting, signal in places where my iPhone 13 Pro Max here doesn't. For some reason, the iPhone seem, at least in my area, I live in kind of a rural area, so haven't had any issues there. If that was one of your concerns, then you should not be concerned. The next thing people have brought up is the price, right? So price issues. And one of my comments by JM here, he made such a good comment talking about the fact that, Samsung Galaxy A53, since that seems to be kind of like the direct competitor to this phone here. Anyway, JM talked about the fact that, the A53, sure, it has 120 hertz refresh rate. Then you get what after that compared to this phone, right? This one has a flagship chipset here when compared to what you have the Exynos, whatever you have on the A53, then you have nothing else. So if you are solely interested in just high refresh rate and nothing else, obviously go ahead and get the A53. But if you want something that has a more comprehensive package, then you should obviously consider this one. So once you go beyond that 120 hertz, it's not even comparable in terms of performance, camera, Android user experience, and so forth, right? Because the performance that you get here, it's way beyond what you get on the Galaxy A53. And like my good buddy Adam says, and by the way, go check out his channel. He makes fantastic videos, and he's been covering the Pixel A heavily lately. So if you're truly interested in this phone, make sure to check out Adam from Tech Odyssey. I'm gonna put the link in the description, so check him out. Like he, said so eloquently, it's not a fair argument to compare this to phones that are not available in the US. So if you live in the US and you say, oh, rather than spending $450 for the Pixel 6a and it doesn't have 120 hertz, it doesn't have this, doesn't have that, I'm gonna go ahead and just use that same money to buy the nothing phone, for example. that sucker is not in the US, right? If you want that, you need to either go on eBay or like one of those third-party websites in order to pick up one, and that would run you pretty close to $700 just to get it here. And I truly think Adam's statement is a very good way to, put things in perspective here, because people seem to have that argument and seem to be pounding and over with using that argument, even though it's a fairly disingenuous argument, I'm gonna say, right? Because you're not really putting everything in perspective. Context matter. I went on a rant there for a second. But anyway, let's talk charging speed now. For people who are complaining about this, who say that it's not fast charge, it doesn't support fast charge, it's not charging fast enough, I can kind of understand that one. To me, personally, I still kind of go, it's a budget phone. I didn't really expect for it to have fast charge. It would be nice to have that on here, and I'm going to combo this point here along with the fact that it doesn't have wireless charge, because I know some people are still complaining about that too, saying like it should have wireless charge, it should have all of these flagship features that exist on flagship phones. And just like I said in my last video, if you need a flagship phone, go buy a flagship phone. This doesn't support fast charge, but if you think about it, even the premium ones, like the other premium Pixels, they support some level of fast charge. I believe the 6 Pro goes up to 30 watt, which is still not, close to what, let's say, the S22 Ultra here could get. So for this one, I'm still kind of, but I can understand people who are complaining or who are hoping for something better than what it has with that 18 watt charge. Now, the good thing that I'm going to say is that once you get the phone charged up, it does hold charge pretty well. At least that's been my experience over the past 3 days, even though it's still learning my habits. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the pressing issue on here, the overheating, right? I don't know where you live, but I could tell you here, we've come pretty close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 days, in a row. I believe starting on Thursday or something. It was just back to back to back to back. Now, with all of that heat, I definitely did experience overheating issues. I had not experienced that on the Pixel 5a. I believe that was the last one that people complained that it was overheating. I did not. But with this one, I definitely did. It took pretty close to 10 minutes, I'm gonna say. I know some people are saying, 3 to 4 minutes, but it actually took a little while. Again, it depends on, the conditions that we're testing in. But for me, it took about 10 minutes. Also, I'm gonna say 10 to 12 minutes before it stopped recording and, I got the message. And again, if you think about it, it's kind of the perfect storm, right? Because it's been very hot and the phone is going through the phase where it's still trying to figure out my usage. And to give a little bit more context to people who don't know, by that, what I mean is that with these well-known manufacturers, when you purchase a new phone during the first week or two, it kind of runs on some level of overdrive, right? And by that, what I mean is that the number of computational interactions, taking place on your phone, just to figure out who you are, how you use your phone, so that it's able to predict, based off of patterns, the way to optimize the phone. So, vis-a-vis your type of usage, so that when you are ready to use it, 3-4 weeks from today, it already figured out a lot of things, a lot of patterns about you, so that it can properly prep the phone, so that when you are, once you get started with the way you use your phone, it would be as optimized as possible, and it would allocate resources in a, very good way, in a very efficient way, if I could put it that way. So it does a lot of that during the first couple of weeks. And despite the weather being hot, even if it were not hot, right, it would still be doing the same thing, and your phone would feel a little bit warm as you use it, because that chip is working on overdrive, trying to figure you out, right? So and the reason I'm saying it's a perfect storm is because, we got the phone during that first week when it's doing all of that extra work, so that it doesn't have to do some more extra work later. While it's doing all that extra work, it also is combined with the fact that it's even hotter than it typically is, right? So it's just kind of like that perfect boom, and that's why we are seeing all of this overheating issue. That's one of the reasons. I'm not saying that's the main, but that's one of the reasons we are seeing the overheating issues. And I'm certainly hoping that Google, I have no doubt that Google is going to step in and figure out something about it, just like they did with the previous one, and make some changes. The phone itself hasn't received any updates just yet. We just got the phone, right? It just got out. So I think with us talking about it, Google is going to be able to pick up on those and figure out what to do with these issues, and then push out updates to make sure that they are fixed. Now, this video is even dragging longer than I wanted, and here's my take. I'm just going to go ahead and give you my take. Just like I always say, if you follow the channel, then you've probably heard me say this a number of times about buying tablets, to people who are out there just buying tablets. Most people should not buy a device based off of one single feature. And remember, I said most people. Now, there's a small percentage of the population or the consumer that may need to do that, right? Let's say, for example, if you're an artist, you want something, you need a large tablet. That would be the one feature that you want. Very large tablet, very large canvas for you to draw. That's fine. Maybe you do video editing. You just need as much raw power as possible and your top level GPU performance. That would be the one feature, you know, you kind of focus on. But generally, most people should buy a device based off of a comprehensive package, everything that it has to offer, right? So 60 hertz, by the way, is very good here, but you should not say, well, it's only 60 hertz and, you know, the other one is offering 120 and you just go with that, even though you don't even care about, you know, the refresh rate. You should not. You should be looking at the phone in a very comprehensive manner. What does it offer? You know, software support, 3 years plus 5 years of security updates. What type of camera does it offer? What type of, you know, chipset do you have here? And you have a flagship chipset here. Like a number of things. The design, you know, something that looks just like a premium. It looks and feel like a premium phone here. I could keep listing things that you should be looking at, but it should be proper to you. It should be proper to your liking. So it's all subjective, but you should have it in a way where you have a bunch of things that you like in the phone or in a device, whether it's a phone or a tablet, before you go for it. Don't just be turned off by one person's experience on one thing to be like, you know what, I don't want that phone. So do a little bit of research, watch these videos and see if they can help you. Hopefully this is informative. I'm going to continue making videos on this because it seems to be kind of like the trending phone right now because of the things that all of these big YouTubers have said and that us small YouTubers are finding out are actually not legit. So I'm going to keep making videos on this here. If you have any questions, any comments, I love the interactions that I'm having currently with the previous video. So let's go ahead and get that going in the comment section. I'm going to catch you in that comment section like I always do. Please make sure to share the video if you know anyone who will be interested. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm going to catch you in the comment section. Like I said, I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.